Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Lucas,
I'm Jaron.
and we are the Real Bros Reviews channel, and today we are talking about WandaVision.
Yes, we're coming back to it. We're doing the second half, episodes 6 through 9. So
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna assume that you've seen this or something, or don't care about spoilers, because we're gonna go pretty straight into spoilers on this one. But
Mm-hmm.
a couple channel updates. So I know last time I told you guys, like, oh, it'll probably take me like a week to get this video essay done. I vastly underestimated how long it would take me to do that since it was my first one I ever did. And I also switched from a Windows PC to a Mac PC or a Mac laptop to edit on, which has been great, but also a learning curve. So yeah, so that'll take me a couple more days. But it's going great. Lucas helped me out with the script, and I think you guys are gonna get a lot out of it. I loved making it. Um, yeah, so that's that. What else was I gonna say about that? Oh, if you have any other questions or any other topics about film analysis or terms you want us to go over in more detail and make a video about, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Also,
We love
I
the ideas.
we love the ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my voice is a little jacked up because I got the snot beat out of me, literally from allergies, the past couple days. So if I sound a little scratchy, that's all that is. But maybe it'll be like a cool jazz singer kind of voice. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you sound great.
Okay, thanks, buddy.
Smooth as ever.
Smooth man. All right.
Yes.
So anyway, so Lucas, why don't you start us off with the WandaVision discussion?
Yeah. So, as we had already kind of summarized, well, yeah, we've already been through the summary, so I think we could just kind of jump right into it. We finished watching it. We watched all the way to the end, last episode, this last Friday. And we had already had the discussion about part one, and so we had some expectations or maybe some concerns about it. But there were also some things that I think they were doing really well.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, I don't know. Maybe just to kick us off, how did you feel at the conclusion of the show?
Just how did
Did you
I
feel
feel?
like, yeah, how did you feel? How do you feel like some of those concerns were warranted? Do you feel like how do you feel about the things that they were doing well in the show? Just overall, yeah, impressions. Give it to
Yeah,
me.
the stuff they did well, I thought was just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much good stuff, I think the end turned out better than I thought it was going to be. I was really worried it
Mm.
was just going to turn into like a usual Marvel big fight at the end thing. And
Mm-hmm.
while there was a big fight, it was like way cooler than I thought it was going to be. Um, but I think overall, yeah, I'm not a big show guy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard for me to get invested into a show. This was a little different because I had already had time to get invested into Wanda and Vision through the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I just kind of felt a little like that was cool at the end, but
Mm-hmm.
not like I wasn't mind blown. It wasn't like when like Inception came out and everybody was
Yeah.
going crazy for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, that was cool. That was fun. It was a good
Yeah.
time.
Do you feel like there's been a lot of buzz around this show? I mean, at least the finale and everything. Because in my experience here, I was watching the show with my wife, and she
Our
loved the
producer.
show. Yeah,
Okay.
she was like really excited to watch the next episode, and at the end she like loved it. She was looking up articles online and like you
Wow.
know reading speculation. um so
Did she cry
I
at the
was
end?
she didn't cry, no, but yeah, I don't know, it was yeah, she was it was really well received for her. Not me, not so much. I was probably in a similar place as you, with just kind of like, yeah, well, that was a show. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't even think it was like a bad show at all.
no, and that's not what I mean. I mean, it like all the things that I was worried about going in from the first half.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think that all of them were played out to like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they just like took that and ran with it, or like there were some things that were, I think they did fairly well. Yeah.
Okay, so what's some stuff you thought was really good throughout the show, particularly the second half?
Yeah, well, I liked that they stayed and focused on Wanda and Vision. Especially, I think towards the end, they really like recircled around them as the focal point. I'm thinking most fresh in my mind is the finale, but yeah, that was the most interesting part. I think I like how they handled some of the like cost involved with the conflict. So I'm kind of split on that one, but I'm glad that they took it to the extent to where Wanda actually ended up having to sacrifice some things. I think that was good.
Yeah, it wasn't just a very neat, wrap a bow on it type of ending. Like there was a little bit of loss.
There was a little bit of loss.
A little bit of difficulty.
Yeah. Let's see what else. I mean, they had a couple other like sitcom throwback style episodes in the, I don't know what you would call it, the first part of the second half of the season.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The third quarter.
Yeah, third quarter. There you go. Yeah, and those are fun. They had like Malcolm in the Middle and Modern Family kind of themed episodes. Those are really cool. It was enjoyable. And that was the stuff that I enjoyed about the first part of the season. So.
Yeah, I really liked the TV show throwback vibes. That was very strong. Yeah. So I agree. Yeah, I like that the show was mostly focused on Wanda and Vision, and that the subplot with Sword and all them was not exaggerated too much, because that's really where the show started to lose me. I think we both were kind of oddballs in that the first few episodes of the whole season were like the most exciting to us.
Yeah.
Whereas most people I think that I talked to were like, this is slow. I don't know what's going on. I don't get it. But I was like, this is amazing. This is great.
Yep.
And then when stuff started coming out and questions were getting answered, I was like, I don't care about whoever this agent guy is. I'm just over agents doing stuff with Marvel people because it never pans out to anything.
Yeah. Yep.
Like Nick Fury wasn't even there. It's like,
yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of, yeah. But again, it kind of doubled down back onto like Wanda's story and how she's relating to everything, and her dealing with like the fallout and emotional trauma of all these Avenger fights that they keep going through. I thought that was pretty sick.
Yeah,
and because I think it goes to show that not every Avenger is a hardened warrior like a Captain America or Thor would be. They're kind of used to going through that. But a lot of them are just kind of normal people. They just got thrown into this and like, oh my gosh, how would this actually affect someone like Wanda, who grew up as orphaned at a young age and all this stuff. So yeah, it was really cool that she got the spotlight. She was always one of my, since her introduction, I always really liked her and thought that she was a little underutilized in the movies.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy she got a good spotlight and really got to grow as a character, and she has so many more fans now, which I'm a fan of. So, hey, Wanda Maximoff representation.
Go Scarlet Witch. I love it.
Go, yeah.
I totally agree. One of my, I actually think that, I think she is one of the most interesting characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's one of the only characters that's a hero, but that struggles with the temptation to use her power for evil. I can't think of another.
Or even just like normal stuff. That's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or normal stuff. You mean like like just every day, like living, desiring a family, and is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I don't think. Yeah, I didn't get the vibe that she was intentionally trying to be evil, and that's I think kind of part of the point of the show. But just
Mm-hmm.
how much she strives for a sense of normalcy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. I agree. Yeah, and those are always the most interesting characters to me, and I think that those characters resonate with a lot of people because that's most of life is, the whole great power becomes great responsibility
Hmm.
um, line that I think that that's so popular because it's so true. You can
Hmm.
very easily go one way or the other with whatever power you have, and yeah, that's compelling. So
Yeah. So yeah. So is that why you think the show's gotten so popular?
yeah,
Like,
good
what do you think?
question.
Like, what is it that makes this show like the thing right now? Because we
Yeah.
had like the Mandalorian was the thing to watch before that. The
Uh-huh.
only show that I can think of that was that popular that pretty much everybody watched was Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is super popular. Hmm. Well, I think one element of that is nostalgia. I think that it like
Hmm.
taps into the nostalgia craze like pretty hard, and it does it in a way that's like contained in the plot and makes sense, so they can kind of get away with some of the stuff. Um,
I'm really
like
tempted to cough and be like Wonder Woman 1984. Sorry, Gal
yeah,
Gadot.
exactly. Yeah, that's a good example of how to do that in a relevant way. And they tie it in really well in the second half of the season by, showing that she used these shows as kind of an escape from her difficult childhood, um, or her parents helped her escape from, difficult childhood. So um, she kind of materializes these shows in reality to do the same thing in adulthood. So um, anyway, that makes sense, and I think that nostalgia just appeals to the day and age that we're in. I think,
Hmm.
yeah, just people want to see throwbacks and stuff that they're familiar with. So that's one of the reasons.
Hmm.
Um, I think another reason is, um, hmm,
I feel like it kind of taps into kind of what you were saying about how movies have a tendency to drop a flashback to some traumatic thing in the past, and then how it affects the character moving forward. I think this show did a good job, though, of being completely about that, and
mm-hmm,
it's all kind of come to this boiling point for her, and it informs and basically creates the whole show,
mm-hmm,
rather than this one memory from her past causes one specific moment to happen. It's like it drives the whole plot.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, everything is related to it.
Hmm.
Yeah, they did that super well. Yeah, and I think too, maybe going back to what I was saying, the point I was making about her being like a complicated character who
Hmm.
kind of uses her abilities to shelter herself and um, yeah, for her own ends basically, and whether or not she meant to, whatever. I do think that that's compelling, and yeah, I don't know if a lot of movies deal with that kind of stuff. Popular movies
Hmm.
deal with that kind of stuff very often, or shows. So yeah, I think that that's compelling too.
Okay, yeah. I was super into Vision at the end, like the whole sequence he had, like fighting himself and then bringing up the
Yeah,
ship of Theseus. I'm like, oh, this is
that was
exactly the
great.
kind of thing that I would want for this character Vision to do in anything.
Yes.
Is, oh my gosh, my guy was so underutilized in the last few movies. I'm like, stop
Yeah,
stabbing the poor guy. Just let him do
I
something.
know. Yeah, that was great, man. That was probably one of my favorite parts of the show, to be honest with you, was
Yeah.
that conflict. I wasn't like worried or anything, but I was getting a little bored of the like, okay, now they're gonna do the same old like smash each other and they're gonna figure out a way to win. against this invincible guy. And then they did that like little turn where he like stops and tries to talk to him, and he actually listens. And that was great, man. Yeah, I was really invested in that.
That was a high point, yeah. Especially, I don't think they've let Vision be that philosophical since he was introduced in Age of Ultron. He's a very... his character is basically a philosophical device for the movie.
Yeah.
And then since then, he was just kind of like Civil War. He just kind of sat back and was like, I have a theory or a formula, whatever he said.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? It's just weird. And then he blew up War Machine or whatever. I was like, okay.
Yeah. And then spends the rest of the series kind of pining after Scarlet Witch. And then...
Yeah, he's like, I tried to make you paprikash, but I am a robot, so I don't know how to cook. This is weird.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
No, it was great. It was a good moment for him to shine. And,
yeah, that was...
Yeah. So, with that, I think something that I had wanted to maybe talk about a little bit is what the most important thing that the show had to say was.
The message, the theme.
Yeah, yeah. And I can start into this a little bit. You can tell me what your thoughts are, but I don't know if the writers intended to do this, if it was conscious, but one of the most interesting aspects to me was the kind of the way that the show becomes very analogous to like our relationship to the internet, where we're able to kind of create this box of nostalgia or comfort or fantasy in order to, escape from the world. I think that's exactly what Wanda does in the course of the show. She creates these fantasies, and even though they're things that are great and that she loves, they do cost a lot in terms of how it affects the real world. So in order to do that, she has to like reprogram these people's minds and basically enslave them to make sure that she's you all right?
I'm good. I muted the cough.
Oh, good. Yeah. She basically has to she has to do that in order to create this fantasy world. So yeah. I thought that was one of the most important things it had to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it in terms.
That was just my view of the show and some things that I was connecting, but I don't know if they were intentionally making that message or
so
what.
Like how people or how they say that social media, like looking at someone's social media, is like a highlight reel of their life, and you're comparing their highlight reel to your cut footage or whatever.
Yeah. She's literally creating a like an alternate reality in order to comfort herself. So I just thought that was really interesting.
Okay. Yeah. That was cool. It reminded me there's a comic from I think the 80s by Alan Moore. It's about Superman. It's called For the Man Who Has Everything. There's actually a very good adaptation of this in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon. But what it is, it's about it's Superman's birthday, and Batman and Wonder Woman, and in the comic Robin goes with them. They go to the Fortress of Solitude to celebrate Superman's birthday. When they get there, or one of the questions Batman even says is, "What do you get for the man who has everything?" And Superman's this really powerful guy, kind of like Wanda. She's super powerful. When they get there, he's received this gift, and it's latched to his chest. It's this evil alien flower thing called a Black Mercy. And what it does is it makes you see like your perfect like dream world, and you just like live in it. And it turns out this villain Mongol had given it to him to kind of incapacitate Superman. And in order for him to, come back to reality, he has to give up everything that he loves the most. So, yeah, so I had read the comic, but the scene in the animated version like really gets to me when Superman has to say goodbye to his son. That's such a tearjerker. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So it really reminded me of that comic a lot. Not to say that it's the first story of its kind where you have to give up your dream life to do the right thing, but yeah, that was kind of a clear parallel. It was, yeah, I think it was cool that they expanded it though into a full season of a show, and that Vision was a lot more involved in kind of dealing with his whole existence. So that was a neat twist on everything. But overall, I like toward the end, and I guess this is where I'm gonna start dipping into like the weaknesses of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have. Okay, the big thing where the show just kind of fell apart a little bit was that we have an episode late in the season that's just like an exposition dump, and I really kind of dislike when shows do that. Instead of giving you like a little bit of breadcrumbs throughout the whole season. So one thing that I thought of that would have made it cooler and improved the B plot is if maybe instead of Sword trying to do whatever with Scarlet Witch and Vision's body, maybe it's about like Darcy, and she needs to find a powerful magical being, let's say to find Jane Foster, because Jane Foster we know is going to be involved in the new Thor movie. She's the new Thor. I'm just making stuff up, but it's something along these lines.
Yeah.
So she needs to find a magical being, and she finds out about the legend of the Scarlet Witch, and she's like, oh, that looks like Wanda. I need to figure this out. So the whole B plot is just her, and we can add in Monica and Agent Woo for fun, and the three of them are slowly revealing information about this Scarlet Witch being. Meanwhile, we have Wanda doing her plot with Vision, and there's living through the TV episodes, but Vision starts to realize something's amiss. And the two plots converge when you realize, oh, Wanda is the Scarlet Witch, and when they like meet up, then revelations and plot resolution. And then but as it was like, okay, well, now we're like 6 episodes in. We don't really know what's going on, but the show wants us to think something's going on. And I'm just really bored with these agent characters.
Yeah. I think those are some of the weakest points of the show and we've addressed this in the first part, but yeah, almost all the stuff that's going on the outside, just wasn't interesting.
Oh shit! Sorry, you got my allergies through the Skype.
I don't know what just happened.
Wanda's hexing you because you're trashing her show.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, everything outside the hex. Yeah. Maybe we can just cut that part out and start
really.
here.
Yeah. And then I actually had to like look up things to understand what happened at the end. Because once the Agatha Harkness reveal happened, and she's like, "Surprise! I'm a witch, and it was me all along." And you're a Scarlet Witch, and this is really important. And Wanda's like, I'm not a Scarlet Witch. I didn't even have powers until the Mind Stone gave me powers. So I don't think that for me, maybe this had to do with me. Like, I think I was probably practicing guitar while watching the show. So maybe I missed something, but I feel like the show didn't do enough to like solidify what actually was happening for me. So I was kind of confused, like, okay, so is she a witch? If she's really a Scarlet Witch, what did the stone do? Did the stone like amplify her powers? Did it is Agatha lying about this? Because that sometimes happens in shows where they make you believe this whole thing about yourself, like, oh, you've secretly been the Scarlet Witch this whole time.
Yeah.
And the truth is, girl, you got it all on your own. I don't know why I did that. So I was just kind of like, I felt like the show wasn't definitive enough on details that are driving the plot. Yeah. And when the details are flaky, it doesn't give enough thrust forward because you're still confused about what's going on. Mm-hmm. And also, it's like, okay, so she's been the Scarlet Witch or, an Avenger for years, and Agatha didn't come to find her until she turned a town into a dream world? Or, like, why'd you wait till now? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Yeah, well, as far as Agatha goes, that part was, like, kind of disappointing to me. I was kind of hoping that the entire conflict would revolve around the characters that we had already had in the show. I think there are lots of, like, really interesting stories that don't have, like, an obvious bad guy. And that was kind of what was most interesting to me about the first part of the show. And the premise and kind of the conflict that was happening was, like, Wanda's this super powerful hero who's using her powers for something that's not very good. So, like, how is that going to get resolved? And I was a little bit, like, worried that they were going to, like, throw a big evil villain to kind of redirect everything. And that's kind of what they did. Thankfully, it was mostly focused on, like, Wanda and her powers and, like, her choice to do things. But still, I actually felt it would have been stronger without Agatha.
It kind of just threw a wrench in things for no reason, because it still turned out Wanda was doing the whole thing herself. It wasn't like Agatha had anything to do with it. Right. She just kind of showed up and was like, oh, by the way, I'm here. What was she even trying to do? Like, steal her powers?
Steal her powers, yeah. I think that was the whole thing.
So, by getting her to have a baby, then she steals her powers? I didn't really understand it.
I wasn't
what was the plot?
Entirely. Yeah, I think... yeah, she was trying to figure out at the beginning how she got her powers so that she could get them from her, I guess. That was the whole info dump episode. And then she tried to force her, after she figured out she was, like, the Scarlet Witch or whatever, she tried to force her to use her powers so that she could steal them. Because she was, like, the absorbing man, basically.
Yeah, she was like, when people who use magic but don't deserve it do it, then I steal it or something. I'm like...
Yeah. The villains were the weakest part, I thought. So that Agatha, and then there was, like, bad agent guy director that was like, okay, this is my maybe I missed something moment.
Okay.
But what the heck was that guy's motivation for being an idiot?
He set up this whole thing so that he would get his little agency to look good and I guess get more funding, or he'd get notoriety as a guy who took down the Scarlet Witch or Wanda Maximoff.
Yeah, that was so, like, weak to me. I was like, what the heck is this guy doing all this stuff for? It just makes no sense. Like, he knows she's one of the most powerful people in the universe, and he's, like, firing drone missiles at her and, like, sending Vision after her, like, bad Vision, and, like, why are you doing this? I didn't... The reward for it was, like, so minuscule compared to the insurmountable challenges involved. I didn't understand.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess.
Like, throw a fundraiser or something, or have, like, an ad campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least I, like, knew what he was trying to do, like, because he explicitly states it at the end.
Right. Yeah. It was just like, oh man, that part of the show felt like a Saturday morning kids cartoon villain.
Yeah, there's always that like annoying general guy who's like, "I'm gonna blow up the good guys because I'm American." And
Yeah.
we didn't. I don't need another one of those plots.
Oh
The guy.
gosh. Yeah, I was like, can we just get away from this guy and get back to the interesting stuff?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Oh.
The most interesting conflict was definitely like the whole show could have just been like, the philosophy of Wanda creating this, false world that's
Yeah.
good for her but bad for everyone she trapped in it, and her own creation in made up vision
Yeah.
trying to talk her out of it. That's interesting enough by itself.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like,
That's
yeah.
kind of why I was wondering if the writers knew what they were dealing with. Back when I was saying, like, it's like kind of a cool analogy to like the fake world of the internet or the ability that we have now to create a reality of our own making. There's like so much rich soil to cultivate like some interesting discussions there, and they totally could have used, I think, Wanda and Vision to flesh some of that stuff out, and maybe some of the people on the outside to discuss like, why is this wrong? Like, she has this idyllic world, all these people look happy inside, you know. I don't know, that would have been something that I would have liked to see, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so in that sense, it totally fell back on the Marvel thing where like, we have to have a bad guy for some reason.
yeah,
But it really didn't help anything.
yeah,
I mean, and I mean, Agatha now is like a popular meme format, so that's cool.
that's true. They gave us a meme.
But gave us some meme, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, I honestly, like you just saw, I couldn't tell you what the heck she was trying to do other than generically steal her magic. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't-
I know there's been some buzz too about like she like enslaved people and then like didn't say sorry to anybody. She just,
Oh,
like,
you mean,
Scarlet
yeah,
Witch.
there wasn't really a lot of fallout. They didn't really have to deal with the consequences of what she done. And I think that's what happens when you wait till the second to last episode to do the info dump and keep the plot stale for the first 6 episodes. I think and that's why I have a hard time watching so many shows. It's like, you have the plot, now do it. Hurry up.
Yeah. Yep. I think, and not to harp on it too much, because it wasn't. I don't think it was a bad show. One more thing I kind of wanted to address too was some of like the corporate influence. So I know
corporations.
lots of people were talking about how like Quicksilver was thrown in there, and there wasn't like a logical explanation for that actor being used other than thinking outside of the movie or the show, like Disney wanted to put somebody that everybody liked in the show to kind of draw attention.
Well, and it provided a really big red herring.
It did, yeah. There was lots of fan theories out there. There certainly were.
I mean, I totally thought it was actual Quicksilver.
Yeah.
But yeah. So now we're almost back to square one as far as trying to figure out how Marvel MCU is going to incorporate X-Men Fox characters into the MCU moving forward.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Did we ever find out who Monica Rambeau texted, the astronaut guy? The plot point I still don't even remember happening.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Because everyone was like, oh, she's texting Reed Richards. Did she?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, and you haven't seen Captain Marvel, so what did you think of that first credit scene?
I mean, it was whatever. I knew it was from Captain Marvel. I knew that the green person was a Skrull. She was, or he or she was a shapeshifter. So I figured it was from Captain Marvel. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of jaded with like all the tie-in stuff. That's another thing that about like the corporate influence that's kind of got me a little bothered is everything is meant and set up to lead to something else. So it just feels kind of never-ending to me, and I'm wondering at what point the cinematic universes will start to feel like those old played-out sitcoms that go on for like 20 seasons, and just kind of die a slow death because it's not going anywhere and there's not an ending. Because that's what a lot of the stuff felt like to me, like including some of the like costs involved. Like we had talked about some of the costs involved, which were good in the context of the show, but there were also these little things that they left there to give the audience clues that, oh, these things are going to come back at some point, like Vision. So Vision basically unlocks his real body's mind or memories, so it's possible that he's going to come back as White Vision, even though he died, and most of the show dealt with his loss. And then another big cost for Wanda was the kids, losing the kids. But it seems like in the second post-credit scene, she hears the voice of her son or something, is what I gathered. Is that right?
I heard a child's voice of like, is that her kids? I don't know.
Yeah, which I just assumed that. So, I mean, it could be wrong, but it kind of took some of the weight of what had happened in the show out of it for me. So, yeah, I don't know. Call me a stick in the mud, but some of these shows or movies or franchises I just wish had like just a final ending. Just period. Boom. Now we got to come up with something else. Even if it's a reboot. Yep. Just, something else.
That's what I always said about the Russos is I started noticing it in, like, I guess Civil War, is they don't like to, like, conclusively end a movie.
Yeah.
I guess until Endgame. There's
until
always,
Endgame.
like... And that was always kind of a Marvel MCU thing, but I felt like before they took over, like, each story was mostly self-contained with just, like, a little thread to go on, but then it was like, now there's a major plot thread, like, Captain America's still on the lam. What's gonna... I'm like... And we never got resolution for that. He just shows up. He's like, "Oh yeah, Infinity War. Here I am." Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna be like Marvel and Disney's getting so big that it's people have limited attention and limited time to devote to things that. It's going to be I'm already exhausted trying to keep up with all the stuff that's happening. And if I can't get one story that's just its own thing, then it's hard to want to commit to the next one.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was great for its time, and it was a fun adventure to follow these characters through dozens of movies. But I'm okay.
That's got to be the thumbnail thing. Just you with a straight face. I'm okay.
That can be arranged.
Yeah, so I guess overall we both don't really have strong feelings about the show. Like, it was good. If you liked it, that's great. I just know I'm like... Yeah, I just like want to watch something else sometimes, and I don't. Yep. And I want for it to be its own thing, not leading to a sequel. Yeah, just let me feel a little bit of actual closure.
Yes, yeah, that's what it is. I need closure. Don't string me along anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know all about getting strung along way too long. Let me tell you.
Yeah. I won't ever string you along, Jaron.
Thanks, bud. So, we were going to talk about like what the future holds for Marvel, but it doesn't sound like you're even that interested in the future of Marvel right now.
Yeah, I thought that was the discussion about the future.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, we got the next thing we got is Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I'm medium excited about. I'll check it out, but yeah, I'm just really in the mood for movies that are like we already said, that are self-contained, complete stories, and not leaning on the franchise connective tissue to exist.
Yeah. Truly. Yep. So
So that's
hopefully
that.
we get that. Yeah.
Hopefully. All right, friends. Well, that was pretty much the episode for today. Let us. What did you think of WandaVision? Are you excited for future Marvel stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know. Like, what? There's Spider-Man with the multiverse thing, which is driving me crazy. Oh, I want to love Spider-Man so much, but I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. They can do it. It'll get to a point where it just gets burned out and they'll be forced to do something that's self-contained.
Okay, Tupperware it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Please
I
do.
don't have anything else to add right now.
Yeah.
My voice is going to give out.
Please like and subscribe if you guys like what you see. It helps us out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what we're doing well, what we could do be better. And look forward to a couple more videos coming out in the next couple weeks.